Hi and welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for The Glory, a Netflix new South Korean series. It's the first 8 episodes that are dropping now, and then we have the next 8 episodes that is dropping in March. But is this worth your time? Let's jump in and find out. A woman lives for absolute revenge against her childhood bullies who destroy her life. So we mostly follow Moon Dong-eun in her multiple timelines, in her younger self as she's growing up in school being bullied. And that is the premise basically of the first episode, and what you see within that first episode, how they're showing the bullying. There's differences, different levels in bullying. It's all basically assault, but the levels that you see in here, the way or how far people are willing to go to bring hurt and pain to another person. What they show here is often very brutal, and it's kind of a warning at the beginning as part of my review is that if you can't handle that or you've experienced that in your life, you may not want to watch this because of how they show it. But then that leads into very interesting, compelling storytelling device that props our character to becoming the one that you are rooting for at the beginning. Now, I know some people are probably going to say that it probably draws out or repeats itself too much in the latter episodes, but I think that's all part of the story building device, because even though our main protagonist, we are following for the most part her revenge story plotline, it's a lifetime long. So we follow all our characters that bullied her, that were the instigators at the school, and we see where they end up in their adult life. And then we see where our main protagonist, Moon Dong-eun, finds herself, or how she gets to that self. In the first 2 episodes, one episode being bullied, second episode kind of building herself up into the person she needs to be, and then her plan starts to come together. And this is a long, as I said, long revenge drawn out plot. And so we see how she starts working out what she needs to do in order to bring these people to justice. And even though her justice may be different to the government's justice because the government has already let her down, the first episode is going to be, I think, eye-opening for some people to the culture that perhaps is experienced in South Korea, because I've seen this time and time again represented in webtoons, in series, in movies. It does seem to be a culture of bullying, and you can correct me in the comments below, but as far as I'm aware, it's fairly accurate as to what goes on, and so it's showcasing something that needs to be addressed. So we have a little bit of the zeitgeist of reality and in a story of a fictional character that's going on in here. So as you see that, if it's something that you have experienced yourself, although I would say a lot of people have experienced bullying in some form in their schooling. I certainly did in my younger schooling in various forms, and that's not nice to experience. Nothing on this level, but definitely had some. You know, there are some characters in here that have real dark parental abusiveness, and you see how that is handled as well. They do a thing where they're not shying away from anything, so they allow you to sit there uncomfortably watching the brutality going on. And that's not to glorify what's going on within the series, it's more like to maybe open your eyes a bit and, hey, this is the reality for some people. It's also to establish that you are not even the underdog, just a woman that is totally broken physically, emotionally, mentally. So as the story unfolds, you are on her side, but more than that, you are on the side of revenge. So even though you think maybe that she's messing her life up, her life is already messed up, so you want to see them suffer what she's suffered. 2 wrongs don't make a right, but sometimes justice needs to be done in a way that these people cannot be in the world, because some people are just too evil. And there are these characters in this series, great acting that you love to hate.
그냥 그때 죽었어야지!
Yeah, there is a core friendship group that are the bully instigators or the assaulters, and in this series you get to follow a number of their paths of what they've become, who they've become, seeing that they haven't really changed. They're still as evil, they just hiding that under the guise of an adult skin. And then we see our protagonist who starts to come into meeting people that aren't all evil, that perhaps might actually be good, and seeing her, I guess, emotionally and mentally trying to figure out whether she will allow these people to be involved in her life because she can only focus on revenge is a very interesting story device that makes you will her to bring those people in so that she isn't just consumed with revenge, but at the same time you totally understand why she would put anything like that at bay. Once we start seeing the people that are involved in her life, we start understanding their plight and what has gone on with them. And it feels like people that are broken are kind of drawn together. At least that's what it's saying in this story. And people that are messed up are drawn together. And you have these two kind of core dynamics that the story follows expertly. I would say that the filmmaking is great. There is a storytelling moment where our characters envision something that goes on, but it's not actually happening. That took me by surprise a number of times when they showcased it. It's like, oh, is this moment actually happening? No, it's in their mind. They're imagining something horrific happening. But then we also get a number of flashbacks that are horrific, and you get to see the brutality of what our characters live through. And that is showcased in between our two different timelines through our multiple protagonists. So it can be a little bit difficult to follow at times, to know when we are, where we are, who we are with, especially as sometimes I think there's a couple of the main characters, female characters, that are very alike. So unless you are following really well, especially if you're reading and you're looking up and you're like, oh wait, we've changed to another character, it may take you a couple of, maybe even 3 episodes to get to know who exactly is doing what in which timeline. So it does feel a little bit jarring at times as it switches between the main protagonist and the timelines and who we are following, and then it adds more main characters into that and we get to know a bit more about them. There's a lot going on there, so I can understand why it's not just the 8 and there's going to be another 8. I do wish they would have dropped all 16 or done what they sometimes do with these South Korean series and dropped 2, like 1 on each day, and then you get those and have longer episodes to tell a more in-depth story. That's not always the case though, and this does feel to be a bit repetitive in parts, so that might be a good thing that we've only got those concise episodes at an hour. I like where they've gone with the story. I just feel like everything's going to be broken down now and messed up, and even those that we are rooting for are going to be drawn into this mess. You can just tell that it's going to be an explosive ending. But for the first 8, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I couldn't have really asked for more, from acting to characters to editing to the score, which was a very big part of these episodes. Thoroughly entertained in a horrific way. 4.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
You got one. Congratulations.
Let me know, are you watching this? Who is your favorite bad guy character? And what do you think of the acting and the storytelling so far? Are you as enthralled as I am? Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.